Standing in a crowded room and I can't see your face.
Hey everyone, I hope you had a great holiday season. Now that it's over, it's time to start shredding a little bit. And a great way to shred is to start incorporating cardio. Personally, I do cardio about twice a week, and then whenever I get into prep, I'm gonna be adding more cardio in daily, weekly, whatever's needed in order to shred the weight that I need to. So right now I'm only doing about twice a week, and then whatever you want to do, whatever's fit for your body type, since fitness is individual, is however much you can do. There are different types of cardio you can do. Today, I'm going to talk about two different types. There are more ways to execute the type of intensity that you're doing the cardio at. So specifically today, I'm going to talk about HIIT cardio, high intensity interval training, versus a miss or LISS type of cardio, which would be miss is moderate, LISS is low intensity steady state. So I'm going to start off with HIIT cardio. So HIIT cardio is just whenever you do different intervals. So you can either do those on a treadmill, on a track, on a bike, different types of burpees and things like that. I like doing them on an elliptical just because I like being able to really modify how hard I can go and go a little harder. Sometimes on a treadmill, it's hard to constantly decrease and increase the speed that I have to go at. There are different types of intervals that you can use to execute your HIIT cardio. So you can do something like 15 seconds on where you're going really hard, really intense with all your effort, and then you can do like 30 seconds off where you're just either not doing any cardio or you're just coasting, going at a regular steady state kind of speed. You can do 15:30, 15:15, 15:45, just depending on whatever you want to do and whatever is fit for you. There is an interval that I like to do that I've been doing a lot recently, which is called the Tabata Method. It was created by some Japanese scientist or something, where you go 20 seconds on and 10 off, or 10 coast. Today I actually did that on the elliptical, and it took me 11 minutes in all. So what I did was I did 1 minute where I was just kind of going steady state just to get my body warmed up. And then for the next 4 minutes, I would do 8 rounds of Tabata, where I would do 20 seconds on and 10 seconds where I was just coasting. So on as in going with all of my might. And then after that, it hit the 5-minute mark, and then I took another 1 minute, just kind of steady state to catch my breath a little bit more again, and then I did another interval, which that put me at 10 minutes, and then I also did a cool down at the end of it, where I just continued and did the steady state. And it's really important to cool down if you're going very intense, or else you might pass out. And personally, I really don't want to do that, and I hope you don't want to pass out either. So make sure you cool down adequately. A HIIT cardio is anaerobic, which means that it does not utilize oxygen as fuel. Anaerobic, it's going to use more carbohydrates as fuel opposed to the oxygen. Some pros of HIIT, high intensity interval training, are that it's more efficient. So the amount of calories that you'll burn in a steady state session, you can burn a lot faster in a HIIT session. In addition, it will burn more fat because you're gonna have more EPOC, exercise post-oxygen consumption, which is just your body's gonna keep burning calories even after you're off the machine, after you're done doing cardio. And it's also gonna increase your mitochondrial capacity. And whenever you have more mitochondria, you're gonna have more oxidative capacity in the muscle, and that's gonna therefore increase your metabolic rate. Thank you, Lane Norton, for that piece of information. By the way, a lot of this information that I'm giving to you today is from my personal experience, what I've learned in school, but in addition, I have used a couple sources, and they will be in the description box below, because you always need to cite your sources. Science is important. Do you even science? I'm a science nerd. That was kind of embarrassing, but it's fine. I'm an embarrassing person. I accepted it a long time ago. Next, HIIT training also helps with your performance because it's those bursts of activity. So if you're doing sprints outside, you're getting ready and you just go and you're bursting into the movement, and it will help you with different types of sports if you are in a sport that you have to burst a lot of the time and sprint. So that is a great thing about high intensity interval training. This is just kind of my overall thought about it. I feel as though HIIT is more muscle sparing because you're going to be using more quads and more muscles because you're going more intense, and so you're going to be sparing your muscle and burning fat. If you think about a sprinter who's doing more of like, obviously sprints versus a cross-country runner. Sprinters are gonna have more muscle mass on them, especially their legs. And then a cross-country runners will be thinner. Nothing worse or better, whatever is fit for your body, whatever you wanna do. But sprinters will have more muscle mass because their activity is more muscle sparing and it's gonna be increasing their muscle. Rather than someone who is a cross-country runner who muscle on their body will actually slow them down for those long distances. Some cons to HIIT training. So one of the things is that it's more taxing on your nervous system because it's kind of like a flight or fight method that you're using. And so over time, if you do HIIT too often, you can become overtrained and burned out. So you don't want to do HIIT too many times and if your body cannot handle it. Also, for me, I do not like doing HIIT the day after leg day. If I have to do a cardio session the day after I do legs, like deadlifts, squats, whatever, it's pretty painful and I can't go with the most intensity that I want to. So sometimes in those situations, I will use steady state and just kind of do whatever I can on it. Also, sometimes if I know I'm gonna have a squat session the next day where I really wanna hit some good, solid, heavy numbers, I am not gonna do HIIT training just because I don't want to tire out my quads too much so that I won't be able to hit those squats the next day. So you need to know what your plan is and know what you're doing the next day, what you did the day before, in order to decide if HIIT training will be right for you and if you're willing to make a sacrifice for maybe not lifting as heavy of weight. If you're okay with that, then go for it. So now on to the MISS/LISS training. Again, MISS is moderate intensity steady state, LISS is low intensity steady state. They're both steady state cardio, they're both not HIIT. It's basically whenever you're just on a machine or you're just going out for a run. It's challenging, but it's manageable. And you can maybe hold a conversation while doing it. I try not to be able to hold a conversation because I still want to go hard, I still want to challenge myself, and I still want to feel like I'm working pretty hard. MISS and LISS, as opposed to HIIT, is aerobic. So you're using oxygen in order to supply your muscles with energy and more oxygen going to your muscles in order to fuel energy processes that go on through your body as you train. A great thing about MISS and LISS is that if you are a beginner or you're pretty out of shape, I would suggest you do this type of cardio. Just because if you're out of shape, you might end up getting really, really tired from HIIT training to the point where you could get sick, you could pass out, obviously depending on the intensity that you go. But this is what I would suggest for beginners and people who are out of shape. Some pros to MISS training is that it's better if your body is overtrained, you should probably do more of this. Before my last show, I went to my coach the last 5 weeks. I was in a bind. I was like, please help me. And he did, but he had me doing a lot more steady state cardio rather than HIIT training because by the time I got to him, I was just overtrained. I was burnt out and he was like, all right, we need to keep it safe and manageable and we need to keep you as healthy as possible. So that's why we're gonna use this training and I would just do maybe 45 to 60 minutes on a machine, which sucked because I hate cardio, but at the end of the day, he knew it was best for me. So I followed, it's fine. It is less taxing on your nervous system because you're not doing that flight or fight method. You're just kind of going at your own pace, having fun. You can watch some TV if you want to, unless that makes you go less, then you probably shouldn't. Listen to some music. Oh, by the way, a really good cardio song is Hold My Hand by Jess Glynne. Whenever I was doing my Tabata sessions today on the elliptical, that song it came on and I was like, oh, this is fun. I really like this song. And it really made me go hard. So I suggest that song for cardio training. MISS and LISS are really good for endurance because if you have a 45-minute LISS session, you're gonna need some endurance for that. So it's really good for your endurance capacity. Some cons to this type of training is that it can be boring. No one really wants to, I mean, some people do, but for me, to be on a machine or running for an extended period of time, doing the same thing is pretty boring. So it can be a little monotonous. Also, unfortunately, your metabolism is likely to adjust to this type of training, which means that over time, you're gonna have to do more. This is actually from the Wilson et al. Study at the University of Tampa, but they found that over time, I think the first week people really saw progress, but then they kept doing this cardio training and did not see weight loss progress. So in order to keep seeing progress, you have to increase the amount of time you're doing it. Okay, so overall for cardio, my suggestion to you and what I typically do is both. I think that both have benefits, depends on the situation that you're in, and they can both help you. Doing two different types of training will decrease the amount of monotony you have. It will decrease your risk of overtraining by doing too much HIIT, and it will also decrease your metabolism getting used to all the list training since you're going back and forth between the two. My coach always had me doing both training, except for whenever my last prep whenever I was overtrained. But my first prep that I had with him, he had me doing both types of training, and I would do like sprints and then sprint coast, and then the next day or a couple days after I would do a steady state session. And I really liked that because some days, as much as I like HIIT, some days I just really don't feel like doing it, and I'm in more of a mood to be in a more relaxed steady state cardio exercise. And a little caveat, there's something called fasted cardio, which a lot of people do. I have done it before, and it is whenever you basically wake up in the morning and go do cardio before you eat anything. The thought behind fasted cardio is that in the morning you're going to be burning more fats. So how your body uses its fuel sources is that it's going to burn carbohydrates first, fats next, proteins last. So in the morning your glucose and glycogen stores are going to be very low. Whenever you consume carbohydrates in the body, they transform into glucose, which circulating blood glucose is in your blood. Then that glucose becomes stored, and its stored form is called glycogen, and then that is stored in your muscles and in your liver. So in the morning, whenever you wake up, all of those glycogen and glucose stores are very low. So theoretically, your body's going to go and start burning fats. And it's a pretty good theory. It makes sense. Some people train fasted, some people do cardio fasted, and some don't do that. And honestly, this is very individualistic. Fitness in general, dieting, exercise, whatever, can be very individualistic, and it just kind of depends on your goals and what works for you. Me personally, if I eat even like an hour before I work out, even if I'm doing something like arms, I will not feel good. So if I have a really busy school day and I need to wake up and just go straight to the gym, I'm not gonna eat. I usually take BCAAs with me, which are branched chain amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks. They make up proteins, so it'll help decrease the amount of muscle that you're losing if you're drinking these while you work out, especially if you're fasted. But sometimes if I am going in to train and I want to have a really good session and it's later on, like if I'm doing something really heavy, I'm gonna want to have food in me, so I am not gonna train fasted. And it just totally depends on you. And a lot of the times I have done fasted, honestly, I haven't seen a difference what's better or worse, because you're gonna have more energy if you have food in you, but also if you're gonna get sick, you should probably train or do cardio fasted. Experiment and see what works for you. Just make sure you're safe and you're having a great time. I hope that you guys find my information to be useful and you can start incorporating cardio if you want to into your daily routine. Because winter season's over, bikini season's on its way, you need to start getting shredsy, and doing cardio will help with that. But do not neglect your diet. If you just eat everything in the world, you can't just fix it with cardio. So just keep your diet in check and you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna get shredsy and you're gonna look awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please let me know if you want to see any other videos. I can do full days of eating, I can do different training, give you guys different workouts to do. So just let me know, leave a comment down below, like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you later. Bye.